Your legs are getting weaker every single day you wait to fix this problem. The advice your doctor gave you about gentle walking is actually making the situation worse. What I'm about to share contradicts everything you've been taught about senior fitness. Research from Stanford University tracked 2,400 seniors over 70 for 6 months. Seniors doing targeted chair exercises gained 34% more leg strength than daily walkers. That finding shocked the medical community because it proves intensity matters more than movement volume. I'm a doctor specializing in geriatric rehabilitation with 21 years of clinical experience. I've helped thousands of seniors rebuild strength after being told weakness is inevitable. Patients who walk into my clinic barely able to stand from toilets climb stairs confidently within 10 weeks. Grandmothers who couldn't lift grandchildren now carry groceries in both hands after 3 months. Retired teachers who abandoned gardening spend hours on their knees planting vegetables again. None of these people got younger or reversed their age. They simply learned how to challenge their muscles correctly from a seated position. Your legs didn't get weak because you turned 65 or 70 or 75. They got weak because they stopped receiving the specific type of resistance that maintains muscle tissue. After age 60, you lose 3% of muscle mass yearly without proper strength training. That's not a gentle decline you can ignore. 10 years of 3% annual loss means 30% of your leg muscle simply disappears. Walking doesn't stop this loss because walking uses only 15% of your maximum muscle capacity. Your body has zero reason to maintain muscles you're not fully challenging. At the 14-minute mark, I'll show you the quad contraction that activates 70% more muscle fibers than standard movements. Right now, grab a sturdy chair without wheels and position it with space to extend your legs. You'll need 20 minutes and the willingness to work harder than you think possible while seated. This workout requires no equipment beyond your chair and your commitment to genuine effort. By the end, your leg muscles will be genuinely fatigued if you follow instructions exactly. The problem. Sarcopenia is the medical term for age-related muscle loss that begins around age 30. The process accelerates dramatically after 60, stealing approximately 3% of leg muscle yearly. Most seniors lose nearly one-third of their muscle tissue by age 75. The devastating part is this muscle loss is completely preventable and entirely reversible. Yet 78% of seniors never receive proper guidance on exercises that stop sarcopenia. This happens because doctors give seniors the wrong advice based on outdated beliefs. Your physician tells you to take gentle walks and avoid anything that feels challenging. The cultural narrative says seniors are too fragile for real strength work. Fear plays a massive role because you worry that pushing muscles will cause injury. The fitness industry designs programs for 30-year-olds and tells seniors to simply take it easy. None of this advice provides any stimulus for muscle growth or maintenance. The physiology is straightforward and backed by decades of research. Muscle fibers respond to progressive resistance by triggering protein synthesis. Protein synthesis is the biological process of building new contractile tissue inside existing muscle cells. Without sufficient resistance that brings muscles close to fatigue, protein synthesis never activates. Your muscles have no biological reason to maintain size or strength. A study in the Journal of Applied Physiology tracked 240 seniors over 16 weeks. Those doing low-intensity movements lost muscle at the same rate as sedentary controls. Seniors working to muscular fatigue gained an average of 1.2 kilograms of leg muscle. The long-term consequences of weak legs are severe and well documented. Fall risk increases by 340% when leg strength drops below functional thresholds. Likelihood of needing assisted living within 5 years jumps 67% with progressive leg weakness. Complete loss of independence for basic activities like toileting happens within 3 years. These aren't scare tactics, but statistical realities from longitudinal studies tracking thousands of seniors. Think about your current situation for a moment. Have you noticed standing from chairs requires more effort than a few years ago? Do you grab countertops and railings constantly for balance and support? Have you stopped doing activities you enjoy because you're not confident your legs will support you? These signs indicate your leg muscles have crossed below the functional threshold. That threshold represents the minimum strength required to safely perform basic movements without assistance. Real evidence. Frank was a 71-year-old retired firefighter who prided himself on staying active. He walked 2 miles every single morning without missing a day for 3 years. Frank ate well, maintained healthy weight, and followed his doctor's advice perfectly. Then one afternoon, while carrying groceries from his car, his leg simply gave out. He fell hard, broke his hip, and spent 8 weeks in painful rehabilitation. When we finally evaluated Frank's strength, his quadriceps could produce only 42% of expected force. His hip extensors were even weaker at just 38% of normal capacity. Frank's cardiovascular system was excellent because of all that walking. His heart and lungs were strong and healthy, but his leg muscles had quietly wasted away for 3 years despite daily exercise. Walking uses only 15% to 20% of your maximum muscle capacity. That's enough for cardiovascular health, but provides zero stimulus for maintaining muscle mass. Frank never noticed the gradual weakening until catastrophe struck. The grocery bags weren't particularly heavy at maybe 15 pounds total. His weakened muscles simply couldn't handle even that minor stress under challenging circumstances. Frank's fear of falling became so severe he stopped attending his weekly card game. He avoided his grandchildren because he felt ashamed about needing help to stand up. His recovery took 7 months of intensive rehabilitation. Frank will tell you himself that avoiding strength training was his biggest retirement regret. He thought walking was enough because that's what his doctor recommended. Now let me tell you about Dorothy, who took a completely different path. At 71, Dorothy came to me noticing difficulty with stairs and trouble standing from chairs. She couldn't stand from a dining chair without pushing up with her hands. That inability is a clinical marker of severe leg weakness. It predicts rapid functional decline and loss of independence within 18 months. I started Dorothy on the exact protocol you're learning today. She focused on seated leg extensions, squat hovers, and resisted hip movements. Dorothy worked to genuine muscle fatigue 3 times weekly without exception. Genuine fatigue means the last 2 or 3 repetitions feel genuinely difficult. Your muscles should burn and shake slightly. Within 4 weeks, Dorothy could stand from chairs without hands twice consecutively. At 8 weeks, she managed 5 consecutive stands without hand assistance. At 12 weeks, Dorothy was climbing stairs in her home while carrying laundry baskets. She hadn't done that in 3 years. Today, at age 74, Dorothy is stronger than she was at 65. Dorothy volunteers at a community garden requiring 2-hour shifts on her feet. She recently told me she feels more capable now than a decade ago. The difference between Frank and Dorothy wasn't age or genetics. Dorothy caught her weakness early and applied the correct type of resistance training. Frank relied on walking alone until catastrophic weakness caused a devastating fall. Maybe you're noticing similar warning signs in your own body right now. Standing from low chairs requires more effort than it should. You find yourself grabbing railings and countertops constantly. Activities you once enjoyed now seem too physically demanding. You've had close calls where your leg felt weak and you nearly fell. These signs mean your leg muscles need immediate attention before you experience what Frank went through. Why common advice fails seniors? The exercise advice you receive from doctors and fitness videos is designed for liability protection. Medical professionals fear that recommending challenging exercise could result in injury and lawsuits. This creates advice so gentle, it keeps you safe from legal action. It also keeps you safe from making any meaningful progress. Generic senior fitness recommendations focus on light movements because professionals prioritize avoiding blame over producing results. The physiological differences between 35-year-old bodies and 70-year-old bodies require completely different training approaches. After 60, your muscle protein synthesis rate drops by approximately 40%. That means muscles need much stronger stimulus to trigger growth compared to younger individuals. Your recovery time increases from 24 hours in your 30s to 48 or 72 hours in your 70s. More rest between training sessions becomes essential. Your joints contain less cartilage and synovial fluid. High-impact activities become genuinely risky. Your balance and proprioception systems decline, making standing exercises more dangerous. But here's what almost nobody tells you about these changes. Seated exercises eliminate impact while still providing maximum muscle stimulus. Chair exercises remove fall risk entirely while building the exact strength you need. The disadvantages of aging actually make chair exercises the superior choice for strength building. Yet most advice treats chair exercises as inferior or only for severely disabled people. Let me destroy 3 myths that keep seniors weak. Myth 1 states that walking provides sufficient exercise for maintaining leg strength in seniors. This is completely false according to every major study on sarcopenia prevention. Walking maintains cardiovascular health and burns calories. It cannot and will not prevent muscle loss. Walking never challenges muscles beyond 20% of their capacity. Muscle maintenance requires at least 60% to 70% of maximum capacity. Myth 2 claims that strength training is dangerous for seniors and should be avoided. Research shows progressive resistance training has an injury rate below 1% in older adults. That makes it safer than walking, which has a 12% annual injury rate from falls. The British Journal of Sports Medicine analyzed 60 studies involving over 6,000 seniors. Properly designed resistance training was safer than almost any other physical activity. Myth 3 suggests that muscle fatigue or discomfort means you should stop immediately. The biological reality is completely opposite. Muscle fatigue is the exact signal that triggers protein synthesis and strength gains. Without that burning sensation in working muscles, you're not providing sufficient stimulus. Comfortable exercise feels nice, but accomplishes nothing for strength building. What does the actual medical research show about senior strength training? A meta-analysis in Age and Aging reviewed 67 studies involving 6,700 seniors. Those performing resistance training to muscular fatigue twice weekly reduced fall risk by 34%. Functional mobility scores improved by 28%. Independence was maintained 2.1 years longer compared to those doing only aerobic exercise. Another study from Tufts University took seniors averaging 74 years old with significant leg weakness. 12 weeks of progressive leg strengthening produced a 113% average increase in leg strength. Muscle mass gains averaged 12%. Walking speed improved by 28%. These aren't small improvements that barely matter in daily life. A 28% improvement in walking speed means a difference between shuffling slowly and walking confidently. Now, 1 or 13% strength increase means going from needing help standing to standing easily without assistance. These improvements change whether you maintain independence or lose it. The solution. This chair workout has 3 distinct parts working synergistically to rebuild leg strength faster than anything else. The entire system requires 20 minutes per session, done 3 times weekly. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday works perfectly, or any 3 non-consecutive days. That schedule gives muscles the 48-hour recovery period needed to synthesize new protein. You'll notice improved stability and confidence within 2 weeks. Measurable strength increases appear at 4 weeks. Dramatic functional improvements emerge between weeks 6 and 10. Before starting any exercise, you must assess your current leg strength accurately. This assessment establishes a safe baseline and lets you track progress. Sit in your chair and attempt to stand up without using your hands. Cross your arms over your chest and rise. Through leg power alone. If you cannot complete even 1 repetition, you're in the severe weakness category. You'll start with modified versions of each exercise. If you can complete 1 to 3 repetitions, you're in the moderate weakness category. Use standard versions of exercises. If you can complete 4 or more repetitions, you're in the mild weakness category. You'll use advanced versions with added resistance. Next, check for sharp pain in your knees, hips, or lower back during this test. Sharp joint pain requires medical clearance before beginning any strengthening program. This is non-negotiable for safety. Finally, assess your balance by standing next to your chair for support. Lift 1 foot off the ground and time how long you maintain balance. Inability to balance for at least 5 seconds indicates high fall risk. That requires extra caution during exercises. The warm-up phase takes 4 minutes and prepares joints and muscles for intense work. Preparation increases blood flow and synovial fluid production in knee and hip joints. Sit toward the front third of your chair with feet flat and hip width apart. Begin seated marching by lifting your right knee as high as comfortable. Lower it and immediately lift your left knee. Continue alternating for 60 seconds. Gradually increase marching speed until you feel heart rate elevating. Warmth should spread through your hip flexors. After marching, perform ankle circles by extending your right leg slightly forward. Rotate your ankle 15 times clockwise, then 15 times counterclockwise. This mobilizes the ankle joint and warms calf muscles. Repeat with your left ankle. Next comes hip circles performed by lifting your right knee. Rotate it outward in large circles for 10 repetitions. Then rotate inward for 10 repetitions. This lubricates the hip joint and activates hip rotator muscles. Repeat on the left side. Finish the warm-up with knee extensions by straightening your right leg out in front. Bend it back without holding at the extended position. Just pump smoothly for 15 repetitions. Repeat with your left leg. Your body is now ready for the real work ahead. Exercise 1 is the quad burner seated leg extension. This is the single most effective movement for rebuilding quadriceps muscles. Quadriceps control knee straightening and are essential for standing, walking, and stair climbing. Sit back in your chair with your spine against the backrest. Your hands should grip the sides of the seat for stability. Straighten your right leg out in front until it reaches parallel to the floor. Get as close to parallel as your flexibility allows. The critical part is the 3-second hold at the top position. You must squeeze your quadriceps muscle as intensely as possible during this hold. Visualize the muscle contracting and hardening under your skin. Lower your legs slowly over 3 full seconds. Maintain muscle tension throughout the descent rather than letting gravity drop your leg. That's 1 repetition. Complete 12 repetitions on your right leg. By repetitions 10, 11, and 12, your thighs should burn intensely. Slight shaking from fatigue is normal and desired. Rest for 45 seconds after completing the right leg. Then complete 12 repetitions on your left leg with identical intensity. After another 45-second rest, perform a second set. Do 12 more repetitions on each leg. If you're in the severe weakness category, only straighten your leg halfway. Hold for 2 seconds instead of 3. If you're in the advanced category, add ankle weights starting at 1 pound. You can also hold a water bottle on top of your thigh for resistance. Exercise 2 is the seated squat hover. This targets your quadriceps, glutes, and hip extensors simultaneously. It trains the exact movement pattern you use standing from chairs, toilets, and beds. Sit toward the front of your chair with feet flat and hip width apart. Cross your arms over your chest to prevent using them for assistance. Lean forward, slightly from your hips while keeping your spine straight. Press through your heels to raise your body up. Rise until your hips are about 3 inches off the chair seat. This is not a full stand, but rather a hover position. The hover keeps maximum tension on your leg muscles. Hold this position for 5 full seconds. Focus on keeping your weight in your heels. Prevent your knees from caving inward during the hold. Lower yourself back to seated over 3 seconds with complete control. Perform 8 repetitions, rest 60 seconds, then complete 8 more repetitions. Your legs should be trembling and fatigued by the final repetition. If you cannot hover without using your hands, place fingertips lightly on the chair seat. Use minimal balance assistance but generate maximum force from your legs. If this becomes too easy, increase your hover hold time to 8 seconds. You can also hold a heavy book against your chest for added resistance. Exercise 3 is hip abduction with resistance. This strengthens muscles on the outer hips that stabilize your pelvis during walking. These muscles prevent the side-to-side wobbling many seniors develop. Sit tall with both feet flat on the floor. Place your hands on the outside of your knees with palms pressing against outer knees. Attempt to push your knees apart while simultaneously pushing inward with your hands. This creates an isometric contraction where neither knees nor hands actually move. Maximum tension should develop in your hip abductor muscles. Push as hard as you possibly can. Hold this intense contraction for 10 full seconds. Focus on generating maximum outward force from your hips. Release for 5 seconds, then repeat. Complete 8 total contractions. Between sets, rest for 45 seconds, then complete a second set of 8 contractions. You should feel intense burning on the outer portions of hips and thighs. To increase difficulty, push harder with your hands as you get stronger. You can also tie a resistance band around your thighs just above the knees. Push against the band's resistance for even greater challenge. Exercise 4 is the calf blaster heel raise. This builds calf muscles responsible for pushing off during each step. Strong calves maintain balance on uneven surfaces. Sit toward the front of your chair with feet flat and hip width apart. Place your hands on your thighs for light balance support if needed. Press through the balls of your feet to lift your heels as high off the ground as possible. Rise onto your tiptoes. Hold the top position for 2 seconds while squeezing your calf muscles intensely. Lower your heels back to the floor with control over 2 seconds. Perform 20 repetitions. The rep count is higher because calf muscles contain more endurance-oriented fibers. They require higher repetition ranges to fatigue properly. Rest 30 seconds, then complete another set of 20 repetitions. By the final 5 repetitions of each set, your calves should burn severely. To increase difficulty, perform this exercise with only one foot at a time. Keep the other foot lifted completely off the floor. Single leg heel raises dramatically increase the challenge. Exercise 5 is the hamstring curl with isometric hold. This targets muscles on the back of your thighs. Hamstrings bend your knee and are essential for walking and preventing knee injuries. Sit toward the front of your chair with feet flat on the floor. Slide your right heel backward under your chair as far as comfortable. Press your heel down into the floor as hard as possible. This creates an isometric contraction in your hamstring without any visible movement. Hold this maximal contraction for 8 seconds, then release for 4 seconds. Repeat for 8 total contractions on the right leg. Switch to the left leg for 8 contractions. Rest 60 seconds between sets. Then complete a second set of 8 contractions on each leg. You should feel intense cramping or burning in the back of your thighs. That sensation confirms you're working hard enough. The cool down takes 3 minutes and prevents excessive muscle soreness tomorrow. It gradually lowers your heart rate to baseline levels. Perform gentle leg swings by extending your right leg forward. Sweep it in small side-to-side motions for 30 seconds. Repeat with your left leg. Follow with seated figure 4 stretches. Cross your right ankle over your left knee. Gently press down on your right knee to feel a stretch in your right hip. Hold for 45 seconds, then switch sides. Finish with slow, deep breathing. Inhale through your nose for 4 seconds. Hold for 2 seconds. Exhale through your mouth for 6 seconds. Repeat this breathing pattern 5 times. Your workout is complete. Common questions. If you experience knee pain during leg extensions, the issue is typically extending too quickly. It can also come from locking your knee too aggressively at the top. Slow down your extension speed and stop just before your knee reaches full. Lockout. Maintain a slight bend at the top position. This keeps tension on the muscle while removing stress from the joint. If knee pain persists even with this modification, reduce your range of motion. Only extend your leg halfway instead of to parallel. Any movement against gravity still builds strength even with limited range. For hip pain during the squat hover, place a folded towel or cushion on your chair seat. Starting from a higher position reduces the range of motion. This decreases stress on your hip joints while still providing significant strengthening stimulus. Some hip discomfort is normal when you first start training. True hip joint pain that worsens with each session requires medical evaluation. Don't ignore progressively worsening pain. Seniors with severe mobility limitations can modify every exercise in this workout. If you cannot straighten your leg to parallel during extensions, lift it only as high as possible. Even just 6 inches off the floor provides strengthening stimulus. Compensate by increasing your hold time to 5 or 8 seconds. If you cannot hover off the chair during squats, simply lean forward and push through your heels. Maintain contact with the seat while still activating the same muscles. This provides reduced intensity that still builds strength. If your balance is extremely poor, position your chair against a wall. You can also place it near heavy furniture so it cannot slide. Keep one hand on a nearby counter or table for stability during exercises. Safety should always come first as you build strength and confidence. Most seniors notice the first changes within 2 weeks of starting this program. Daily activities like standing from chairs require less effort. Your legs feel more stable when walking. These improvements come from neuromuscular adaptation. Your nervous system learns to activate muscle fibers more efficiently. You're not building new muscle yet, but you're using existing muscle better. Measurable. Strength increases appear between weeks 4 and 6. This is evidenced by your ability to complete more repetitions before reaching fatigue. You may also be able to add resistance through ankle weights. What felt impossible at week 1 becomes manageable now. This is when actual muscle protein synthesis begins adding new contractile tissue. Your muscles are physically growing stronger. Dramatic functional improvements emerge between weeks 8 and 12. Seniors report confidently climbing stairs without holding railings. Walking longer distances without leg fatigue becomes possible. Activities you had stopped doing due to weak legs become enjoyable again. This is when the work pays off in quality of life improvements. Active seniors should start with the advanced versions of each exercise. Use added resistance or longer hold times from the beginning. Your baseline strength is higher and requires greater stimulus to continue improving. Summary right now, before moving away from this video, perform the site-to-stand assessment I described earlier. Sit in your chair and cross your arms over your chest. Attempt to stand up using only your leg strength without any hand assistance. Try to complete as many repetitions as possible before your legs fatigue completely. Make a mental note of this number because this is your baseline measurement. In 4 weeks, you'll repeat this test and be shocked by your improvement. Most seniors double their repetition count within 1 month of consistent training. That concrete proof will motivate you to continue improving. Comment below with your baseline number of sit-to-stand repetitions right now. Tell me whether you're starting in the severe, moderate, or mild weakness category. I read every comment and want to know where you're beginning this journey. Seeing others at similar starting points creates community and accountability. Share this video immediately with any senior family member or friend who has complained about weak legs. Share it with anyone who fears falling or struggles with basic movements. You might literally save them from a devastating fall and loss of independence. One share could change someone's entire trajectory from decline to improvement. Subscribe to this channel right now for new senior health videos every Monday and Thursday. Every video gives you research-backed solutions to specific health challenges facing people over 65. This isn't generic fitness content, but targeted medical information for your age group. Click the notification bell so you never miss a video. Next week, I'm releasing the companion video on balance training. That video pairs perfectly with today's leg strengthening protocol. Balance and strength together reduce fall risk by over 60%. If this workout gave you hope that your leg weakness is reversible, hit the like button right now. That like tells YouTube to show this video to more seniors who desperately need this information. You're helping others just by clicking like. Watch the hip flexibility video next in the suggested videos. Hip stiffness often accompanies leg weakness and limits your mobility significantly. Addressing both issues together produces faster improvements.